Mia clung to Oliver's arm, her voice dripping with sweetness. Daddy, please let me come with you. I love you the most, and I'm not scared of hard work at all. Hearing Mia, who had always been spoiled and reckless, say something like that genuinely touched Oliver. He completely overlooked the scowl on Fiona's face beside him. No way, Mia will suffer if she goes with you. I have to take her away. Fiona stepped in, determined to put a stop to this. Mia might suffer with Oliver, but what about me? It felt like I was being treated like a ghost, invisible. As my parents fought tooth and nail for Mia's custody, in the end, Mia's stubbornness won out, and when she insisted on going with Oliver, Fiona reluctantly settled for me instead. I climbed into the luxury car belonging to my stepfather, Logan Moore, while Mia bounced away, hand in hand with Oliver. Before they left, she shot me a look filled with arrogance. I didn't care. After all, Fiona was well off now. While Oliver was scraping by, in my past life, Oliver had to dodge debt collectors, dragging me along as we hid from one place to another. I could never focus on my studies. His business failures and Fiona's departure had hit him hard. He spiraled into self-destruction, drowning his sorrows in cheap booze in a rundown apartment, neglecting everything else. At school, I was a top student, but I couldn't afford tuition and had to care for him, which forced me to drop out early and fend for myself. Mia, born from the same womb, was so much luckier. She was beautiful and knew how to win our parents' affection, making them adore her. They always said I should act like an older sister and let Mia take the lead, even after the divorce. It was clear they only wanted her, but in this life, she chose Oliver. Giving him a moment of triumph over Fiona, as we drove, Fiona began to berate me, saying, "You've always been plain and unlikable. Now that we're living with Logan, don't embarrass me." It was quite the laugh. Who would ever say such things about their own daughter in front of others? But I shrugged it off as the car rolled into the affluent neighborhood. I knew Logan was wealthy in my past life, but I hadn't realized just how wealthy. He enrolled me in the best private school in the city, complete with a dedicated driver for my daily commute. Determined to make up for my previous life's missed opportunities, I threw myself into my studies. I worked hard and consistently ranked in the top 3 of my class. Fiona, who had previously ignored me, suddenly took an interest when it came to attending parent-teacher meetings. Her presence was met with envy from other parents and praise from teachers. With Logan having no children of his own, I found myself quite comfortable in this new home. "Mr. Moore, I'd like to study abroad," I told him one day, before Logan could respond. Fiona was already jumping in, flustered. "What do you mean, study abroad? You're just a kid. Don't think just because you're doing well academically that you can do whatever you want." I learned that sometimes, one could genuinely dislike someone without any reason, even if she was my own mother. Logan wasn't the unpredictable tyrant Fiona and Mia had painted him to be. In fact, I found him to be quite intelligent, though proud and sensitive about his ego. The tension between him and Fiona surfaced shortly after we moved in. Fiona was nothing more than a pretty face with no brains. If anything, she and Oliver were a match made in heaven. Oliver was a classic rich kid who had his head in the clouds and muscles over his brains. He had married Fiona thanks to a mix of recklessness and money. When my grandparents were alive, he had a safety net, but once they passed, Oliver's so-called friends led him into risky investments, wiping out everything he had inherited. Fiona wasted no time finding a new partner and divorced him. My plans to study abroad were thwarted by Fiona's interference. But with my current grades, I could easily get into a prestigious university right here at home. One day, Mia arrived, and our housekeeper, Amanda West, greeted her with a bright smile. "Mia's here." "Ms. West, is my mom home?" Mia asked, her voice laced with expectation. Amanda replied, "Your mom went shopping, but your sister is upstairs studying." I could hear Mia's footsteps approaching my room. Without knocking, she swung open my door. "Megan, what are you pretending for? No one's home. You're working so hard for what?" She scoffed, striding over to snatch my books away. It was amusing how Mia, raised by Oliver, still made regular visits to this house, always seeking money, jewelry, and clothes from Fiona each time she left. The car was packed to the brim, yet come the next month, she'd be wearing tattered clothes again. All the good stuff had gone straight to Oliver, who was now not just a drunk but a gambler as well. Fiona hated to see Mia struggling under Oliver's roof. She had even discussed with Logan the possibility of bringing Mia to live with us permanently. Logan had agreed, but Oliver wasn't about to let that happen. He was still using Mia to squeeze money and gifts out of Fiona to support his own lifestyle. Studying has made you dumb. What's the point of all those books? You'll never be as pretty as me. Even mom and dad don't like you. You think you're living the good life? Just remember, I'm the one who's letting you enjoy it. Don't get too comfortable. It won't last long, Mia said, rummaging through my belongings as if they were hers. It was true. This room had once been her chamber in the past life. She tossed things around carelessly. TS. You really don't know how to enjoy life, do you? What's all this junk? You just sit here with your stupid books all day. I ignored her, allowing her to wreak havoc in my space. Mia? Is that my precious daughter, Mia? Fiona's voice chimed in as she entered. Fiona's eyes widened at the sight of my room turned upside down. What are you even looking for here? Come on. Let's go to my room. I just bought a bunch of new clothes and jewelry. Take whatever you like. Without glancing at me, Fiona grabbed Mia's hand and whisked her away. Not a single word of concern for me passed her lips. Amanda entered, balancing a glass of freshly squeezed orange juice. She surveyed the mess and started tidying up with practiced ease. I've never seen such a biased mother before, but it didn't matter. Mia's good fortune wouldn't last forever. Downstairs, a heated argument erupted. Unbelievable. All of your things cost me money, but you still have the nerve to keep a boy toy on the side. Logan's voice thundered, his temper flaring. A sharp slap rang out as he struck Fiona across the face. Mia rushed forward to intervene, but Logan shoved her down to the floor in his rage. I haven't even mentioned your precious daughter. Didn't you agree to split the girls evenly? Why is she always running over to my place? Every time she comes, half my stuff goes missing. Fiona retorted defiantly. My daughter is taking what's rightfully mine. Why should you care? Logan snapped. Yours? Look at you. Everything on your body was bought with my money. And now you expect me to support your entire family? Logan, how dare you say that? If it weren't for your infertility, I wouldn't be in this mess. Fiona's words hit like a punch to the gut, sending Logan into a blind rage. He lost all reason and began tossing Fiona's belongings out the window. She tried to stop him but was shoved to the ground in the process. No one dared to step in. Even Mia cowered in the corner, too afraid to move. Logan had married Fiona for her beauty and her 2 children. After the wedding, he focused on raising me, almost as if he were grooming me to be his successor. But in my past life, Fiona had taken full advantage of that, squandering Logan's wealth without a second thought. Mia might have been beautiful, but her mind was as empty as a balloon after a party. It was one thing to be greedy, but Fiona and Mia took it to a whole new level with their simplistic thinking. Fiona had her affairs, and Mia, with no shame at all, bragged about how everything Logan owned would eventually belong to her. Word of her arrogance soon reached Logan's ears, and it was no surprise. Anyone would feel uncomfortable knowing someone was eyeing their fortune while they were still alive. After, Mia was not his biological daughter. That was a distance between them that was hard to bridge. In a decisive move, Logan brought his nephew to stay with him, grooming his nephew as his successor while kicking Fiona and Mia out of the house. This time around, Fiona faced the same fate, but Logan had no intention of sending me away. Megan, you'll be better off with me than with your clueless mother, he said, and I couldn't help but feel a surge of relief. All my previous efforts hadn't been in vain. Logan recognized my ambition, intelligence, and vision. I made it a point to put him first in everything, consulting him on any significant decisions. I even confided in him about wanting to take his surname, something my fashion-obsessed, brainless mother would never understand or care about. Fiona refused to leave, insisting she would die in that house. She underestimated Logan, thinking he was just another weak-willed rich kid like Oliver. But Logan was a self-made man in the business world, not easily fooled by her petty tricks. Amanda, go to the bedroom and pack a few of her things, Logan instructed, summoning security. Just like that, Fiona and Mia were tossed out. As Logan passed my room, he gave my shoulder a reassuring pat. Megan, focus on your studies. Adult matters don't concern you. I nodded, feeling a mix of gratitude and determination. Foolish people never changed, no matter how many times they lived through the same story. My life continued unaffected. Fiona, desperate, tried to persuade me to intercede with Logan on her behalf. Of course, I wouldn't entertain that thought. She bombarded me with calls, hurling the most vile insults she could muster. Without Fiona's support, Mia's life took a turn for the worse. Her poor grades and lack of interest in school caught Oliver's attention, and he decided to pull her out entirely, drowning in his own debts. Meanwhile, I was laser focused on preparing for the SAT. Logan was swamped with work and barely home. Not long after, on my way to school, I was cornered by a gang of thugs. That day, our family car was in for maintenance, so I was walking home alone. Just outside the school gates, a guy called out to me, "Are you Megan?" Before I could respond, he clamped a hand over my mouth and dragged me toward an abandoned warehouse. I felt a sharp kick to my stomach, which knocked the wind out of me, leaving me gasping on the ground. They didn't say a word. They just started hitting me, Mia sneered, stepping forward with an air of superiority. "Hey, Megan, how's life in that fancy mansion?" "Beach, I'm honestly impressed. That old man treats you like a queen, and look at Mom, she's out on her ass. You're still in that house, huh? I'm dying to know what tricks you're using. Is it your so-called charm or just your plain Jane looks?" Mia and Fiona thought they could charm their way through life, believing everyone else operated under the same shallow principles. As Mia brandished a small knife, waving it dangerously close to my face, I could see the thrill of intimidation in her eyes. The gang of thugs around us shifted uneasily. They weren't keen on escalating things to this level. One of the guys finally spoke up, clearly uncomfortable with the situation. "Barry, we agreed. Grab her, give her a beating, and let her go." "What's with the knife?" Barry Allen, Mia's lowlife boyfriend, was supposed to keep things in check, but even he seemed hesitant. The others had a code of honor, and once she pulled a knife, that code went out the window. "Hey, Mia, just scare her a bit. She's your sister, after all," Barry said, trying to diffuse the tension. "She doesn't deserve any sympathy." Mia spat on my face, but thankfully, she took the hint and didn't use the knife. I ended up getting beaten so badly that I could barely stand, and only then did they let me go. I limped my way to a cab and headed back to the villa. When I got home, the place was empty except for Amanda, who looked at me with concern. "You were fine this morning. What happened?" she asked, her eyes wide as she took in my battered state. I winced as she gently tended to my wounds. Later that evening, Logan finally made an appearance, and he brought Fiona, who was decked out in flashy clothes. They seemed to have patched things up, but when Logan saw me, he immediately expressed concern. Fiona, however, was quick to interject with her usual coldness. "You just can't help but get into trouble, can you?" Unlike Mia, who knows how to behave. That was right. Earlier that same day, Mia had shown up with a group of people to jump me, and now here she was, strutting around the house as if she owned the place. It was like she couldn't wait to rub it in, flaunting her presence under the same roof just hours after giving me a beating. "Mom, why don't you ask me who did this to me?" I shot back, frustration boiling over. "Who else could it be? You must have been up to something shady out there." Fiona's words dripped with disdain, but Logan cut her off. "Megan, what happened to you?" he asked, his brow furrowing with concern. I pointed in Mia's direction. "She had a gang of thugs corner me at school. Are you out of your mind?" "That's ridiculous." Mia feigned innocence, her tears flowing as she turned the tables on me, accusing me of lying, but I was prepared. I pulled out the footage I had copied right after the attack. Sure, it only showed Mia's crew grabbing me outside the school and her shadowy figure near the abandoned warehouse, but it was enough to tell the story. Logan's face twisted in disbelief. He couldn't fathom that someone could be so cruel as to have their own sister beaten up. "We need to call the police. This is beyond a joke." Fiona, ever the manipulator, snapped at me. "How can you prove it was Mia?" "Megan, you're being completely shameless. Yes, I've been a bit neglectful, but you don't have to drag Mia into your drama." "Mia, do you know this person?" Logan pressed, trying to get to the bottom of it. Mia denied everything, claiming she was just passing by. "Mom, you have to believe me," she pleaded, her act flawless. Then, in a shocking move, she slapped me across the face, catching me completely off guard. After hitting me, she collapsed in a fit of tears, playing the victim as always. Fiona rushed to her side, cradling Mia in her arms. "Great, now you've made her faint. You're truly a piece of work, Megan. How could I have given birth to someone like you?" She whisked Mia away into a room, calling for a private doctor to check on her. Meanwhile, I stood there, nursing my wounds, and not a single word of comfort came my way. Logan stood by my side, offering comfort. "Megan, don't take it to heart. That's just Fiona's way. We'll have the doctor check you out in a bit." In the other room, Fiona continued her tirade, hurling the most venomous insults at me. Honestly, I don't know who Megan takes after with that awful attitude. At least Mia knows how to behave. She's always been the good one. When Fiona finally left to rest with Logan, Mia who had been playing the victim, suddenly sprang back to life. She stormed into my room that night, her eyes blazing with fury. "You really think you can beat me? Don't be so naive. Mom and Dad have always favored me. You haven't even seen your worst days yet. They'll be waiting for you to hit rock bottom." In my past life, I had always struggled, so she never bothered me. But the moment I started to thrive, she couldn't stand it and came after me with a vengeance. In this life, Mia believed she was destined to win. Yet she still couldn't bear to see me doing better than her. So she sent people to rough me up, no matter the circumstances. She was always rooting for my downfall. But this time around, the one suffering was still her. Logan's company was in dire straits, drowning in debt with no substantial cash flow from any of its projects. Fiona insisted that Logan declare bankruptcy, but the company was his entire life's work. In the end, Logan made the tough decision to sell off everything he could, including our house, our cars, and anything that could be liquidated to cover the company's losses. We moved out of the villa, letting go of our staff and drivers. Just like that, the Moore family was officially in decline. Meanwhile, Oliver's side of the business was booming like a car speeding around a bend. He landed several major clients and was only getting bigger ever since we moved. Mia had vanished from our lives, and Fiona was hardly ever home, growing more critical of Logan while completely neglecting me. I proposed to Logan that I drop out of school to help him with the company. Initially, he was against it, but with the lack of manpower, he eventually agreed. So, I started working at Logan's company. While Logan traveled abroad for business, he left the day-to-day operations in the hands of his nephew, Jack Fleming, and me. We were practically living at the office, working around the clock, only returning home to wash up and catch a few hours of sleep before diving back in the next day. Jack was older than me, but having lived two lives, I handled many situations with a maturity he lacked. He shifted from seeing me as just a little girl to treating me as an equal partner. We became allies. One evening, Logan and I returned home to find a luxury car parked out front. Mia emerged, decked out in designer clothes, with Barry strutting alongside her. It was clear she was here to flaunt her wealth. "Megan, why didn't you tell me you moved? Living in a dump like this? It's so hard to track you down." She shot a glance at Jack, adding, "Oh, so this is your new boyfriend? Not much to write home about, is he?" I ignored her, choosing to walk past and head inside. "Didn't you hear Mia talking to you?" Barry stepped in front of me, playing the loyal lapdog. Jack, who usually seemed timid, surprised me by stepping up. He shoved Barry aside. Mia was taken aback by the fact that he would stand up for me. Her anger flared, and she lunged to slap me again. But I wasn't going to let her have the upper hand this time. I struck first, delivering a sharp slap back, then followed it up with a swift kick that sent her sprawling to the ground. Mia landed with a thud. Looking utterly defeated, without a backward glance, I pulled Jack inside the house. "How dare you hit me, you beach." Mia was outside, completely losing it. She had never been humiliated like this before. I grabbed a basin of water, flung open the door, and drenched her with it. "Instead of wasting your breath cursing me, why don't you head home and keep an eye on your finances? You wouldn't want to end up poor again." Mia was taken aback. Thinking I was cursing her, she erupted into a tirade, yelling like a madwoman on the doorstep. Eventually, it was Barry who couldn't take it anymore and dragged her away. Logan returned from abroad, having successfully closed a deal. Jack and I had managed to stabilize things at home. But the challenges were far from over. The company was in a crucial transition phase, and if we didn't weather this storm, all our efforts would be for nothing. One evening, Logan sought me out. "Megan, I'm back, and with Jack's help, we've got things under control at the company. I want you to focus on your studies for now. If you're still interested in studying abroad, I can arrange that for you." I felt touched that Logan remembered my dream of studying overseas, but at that moment, I had no desire to leave. "Mr. Moore, the company is struggling, and we don't have the funds for me to go abroad. I'd rather stay here and finish my degree, so I can help you once I graduate." Logan didn't push me further. He reiterated that he had no children of his own and that I was like a daughter to him. I was busy preparing for my exams, and I had just 6 months left to catch up on all my subjects. Since Logan's company hit hard times, Fiona had vanished, taking every valuable thing she could find with her. 6 months later, I achieved my goal and got accepted into the best university in the country. Meanwhile, Mia had dropped out and was now lazing around at Oliver's company, living off her father while indulging in a life of leisure with Barry. Logan reserved a banquet at the city's finest hotel to celebrate my academic success. Since it was a family gathering, we kept it simple. With just a few tables for close relatives, Mia somehow caught wind of the celebration and booked a table at the same hotel. Her big news? She was pregnant and ready to celebrate becoming a mother. With an air of arrogance, she barged into my private room, disregarding the crowd. So what if you aced your exams? You'll still end up working for someone else. Unlike me, I'm young and married, with my dad supporting me. I'll inherit the company one day. She stepped right up to me, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Loser, in the end, I'm still the one winning. My life has always been better than yours. Mia made a scene, and Oliver stood by, indifferent. The relatives of the Moore family whispered among themselves. Logan, unable to stand it any longer, stepped in front of me and scolded her. Enough already. Where's the waiter? He took a stand for me, declaring for everyone to hear, from now on, everything I have belongs to Megan. She's my daughter. Today isn't just a celebration of her university acceptance. It's also the day she officially takes the Moore name. That was right. Ever since I joined the Moore family under Fiona's influence, I had always called him Mr. Moore. Logan never pressed me to call him anything else. But today, in front of Oliver and Mia, he was willing to promise me his family fortune. At that moment, I realized that blood ties didn't matter as much as the bonds we forged. Dad, I called out loudly, making sure everyone heard. What a joke. A company on the brink of bankruptcy isn't worth much, Mia retorted, her tone dripping with disdain. Logan stood firm. You're not welcome here. Please leave. I don't want to stay anyway, Mia shot back, her eyes narrowing. Throughout this exchange, Oliver trailed behind her like a puppy. Eager to please, as I settled into university life, I continued to lend a hand at Logan's company. He taught me everything he knew without holding back. Since I had gotten used to calling him Mr. Moore, he didn't mind at all and told me I didn't need to change how I addressed him. One day, Logan took me to a private resort, where we met with a key player in the industry, Brian Pitt. We spent the entire afternoon chatting, and the atmosphere was relaxed and enjoyable. In my previous life, it was through Brian that I managed to turn things around with Oliver. Back then, the company was slowly improving but still felt like an empty shell. I worked tirelessly to help it find its footing, and that was when I met Brian. He appreciated my skills and trusted me to handle important tasks. This time around, while Oliver and Mia were still basking in their little victories, I had already reconnected with Brian. In such a vast market, the early bird got the worm. Let's make this partnership a fruitful one, I said as we reached a mutual agreement. Before long, every competitor in the industry came knocking, eager to collaborate. Cash flow began to stabilize, and the company was revived almost overnight. Oliver's clients quickly switched their allegiance to us. In less than 6 months, I had repurchased my old villa and luxury cars. The company became the leading enterprise in the area, and news articles began to pop up about our success. Meanwhile, Mia found herself back at square one. Oliver's company, unable to cover its debts, filed for bankruptcy. Oliver, with his gambling addiction, had squandered company funds on bets and ended up fleeing town to escape creditors. Mia, who spent her days indulging in leisure and living off her father's money, soon found herself without any support. With no funds to care for Barry, he left her, pregnant and without a degree. She was left with no choice but to take a job washing dishes at a restaurant. One evening, Logan and I went to that very restaurant for dinner and spotted her. She looked young but weary, her small belly noticeable as she cleared tables. When Mia saw me, her face flushed with anger, and she rushed towards me, ready to lash out. This can't be happening. No way. Luckily, the restaurant owner stepped in just in time to stop her. Her eyes were red, and she kept muttering, "No way, this can't be real." After that incident, the restaurant fired her, and I never saw her again. Then Fiona, who had been missing for ages, resurfaced after Logan's fortunes turned around. She came back, sobbing and full of apologies, claiming she had been deceived by others. It was clear she was struggling to make ends meet. Logan, though silent and visibly conflicted, allowed her to stay in a guest room. The dynamics in the house had shifted dramatically. Whatever I requested, Logan would agree to. While Fiona's every word seemed to be dismissed, at first, she treated me with the same disdain as before, throwing insults my way and trying to assert her authority. But after Logan's reminder that she could either treat me well or end up on the streets, Fiona finally eased up on me. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. It felt like she was watching my every move. Fiona would sneak off to make mysterious phone calls and often disappear for long stretches. I wasn't surprised when, one morning, I woke up tied up in an abandoned warehouse. I called out, my voice echoing in the empty space. Mia, is that you? Come on out. Mia looked older, her youthful glow replaced by a weary, middle-aged demeanor. Her belly now bore the weight of a lost child, a decision made under Barry's influence. She couldn't even take care of herself, let alone a baby, whenever there was a chance to profit. She was quick to jump back into the game. Do you think we can really get the money? Barry asked, his voice laced with uncertainty. Mia replied, her confidence unwavering, relax. Mom said Logan's got a soft spot for her now. Getting some cash is a piece of cake? It was clear Fiona was pulling the strings behind the scenes. No wonder she'd been so eager to bring me that warm glass of milk last night, insisting I drink it all. They had plotted this from the start, lying in wait for me here. Whether in this life or the last, her favoritism was glaring. It felt like she wanted me dead more than anything. Mia, I'm still your sister, I pleaded, trying to reach her humanity. Sister? What a joke. I've always been prettier and luckier than you. Why should you get all the good things while I end up like this? Don't worry, if you just cooperate, it'll make your death quick and painless. It was clear she wanted to eliminate me and start anew, but Barry hesitated. We agreed. Once we get the money, we're out. I'm not playing this deadly game with you, he said, trying to snatch the knife from her hand. Just then, the wail of police sirens pierced the air outside. Listen up. You're surrounded. Release the hostage now. I had known all along that Mia's jealousy would drive her to this point. Jack and I had coordinated. As soon as I was taken, call the cops. Fiona's sudden concern had raised my suspicions, prompting me to text Jack before drinking that milk. The police had sealed off the area, leaving no escape route. Mia, just give it up. You're going to prison. Barry urged with desperation creeping into his voice. Coward, what are you afraid of? I can always start over. She snapped back. I recalled the past vividly. How I had become a successful entrepreneur, surrounded by compliments at Oliver's birthday party. I remember when Mia was the one who stood out, always the prettier, more talented. Yeah, look at her now. She's a mess, deceived by men, while her sister has made something of herself. Back then, Mia had approached me, looking pitiful in her plain clothes. Sis, I feel like it embarrassed you in this outfit. Can we go to the mall and get something nice? Her sad eyes had convinced me to take her shopping in my new convertible. But on the way, she had snapped, grabbing the steering wheel and veering toward a truck. The next thing I knew, we were reborn. Ironically, Mia still had no idea I had also come back. As Barry wrestled the knife from Mia, she pulled out a gun from her pocket. No matter what, you're going down today, she hissed. Aiming it at Barry, she added, try to take it from me, and it'll kill you too. Barry froze, fear evident in his eyes. The police's voice rang out again. Listen, this is your final warning. Drop the weapon and release the hostage. But Mia was too far gone, her mind set on a do-over. I closed my eyes, bracing for whatever fate awaited me. Then, a deafening sound filled the air. The bullet didn't come to me. I opened my eyes to see Mia crumpled on the ground, blood pooling around her. The snipers outside had been ready for this moment. I knelt beside her, whispering, do you know why the gun didn't fire when you pulled the trigger? Because it was a fake. Your boyfriend was in on it too. You really thought he just happened to be by your side? You're not the only one who's been given a second chance. Mia glared at me, her face twisted with resentment and helplessness. I had spent a small fortune hiring a private investigator to track down Barry. Once I found him, I bribed him to return to Mia, coaxing her into buying a gun. I had flipped the script, taking control of a situation. She couldn't use a knife. She had to use a fake gun to take me out. This way, the police outside would have no choice but to fire a shot to protect me. I could eliminate a huge problem without lifting a finger. In the end, I walked away unscathed. After a brief questioning at the police station, I was free to go home. Logan and Jack were already waiting for me when I arrived. Mia, where is she? Fiona rushed at me as soon as I stepped through the door, her eyes wide with concern. I retorted, how do you know Mia was with me? Was it you who slipped the sleeping pills in my milk yesterday? Fiona denied it vehemently. I pulled out the video evidence of her slipping the pills, and she fell silent, her face draining of color. Logan was in disbelief, realizing that the woman he called his wife had poisoned her own daughter. He roared, how twisted can you be? I laid out the photos and documents from the private investigator on the table. They showed Fiona cozying up to some young men and included confidential company documents she had sold to our competitors for cash. Fiona was literally biting the hand that fed her. Her expression turned to one of despair, her eyes filled with hatred as she lunged at me, trying to grab my hair. I easily restrained her. You filthy beach. Mia died because of you. I shouldn't have taken you to this world. I thought, was this really the kind of thing a mother should say? Logan was ready to file for divorce. I couldn't care less. My custody was already in his name.